still awake? Good. I would like to call to order our business meeting, Scotch Plains, Township of Scotch Plains, July 21st, 2015. Ms. Lucina.
I wish to make the following announcement to show compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, known as Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of New Jersey, 1975. Notice of this meeting was given by adopting an annual schedule of the location, time, and date, sending copies to the Scotch Plains Fanwood Times, the Star Ledger, and the Courier News, posting in the municipal building, and filing a copy with the Township Clerk within 7 days following the annual organizational meeting of this body. If everyone would please rise for the pledge of the flag and remain standing for our invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, we ask that you provide this governing body counsel and guidance as we conduct the business for the citizens of the Township of Scotch Plains. We ask your blessings, and we pray that we can work to give our citizens the best governance that they rightfully deserve. Amen.
Mayor, before we go into public comment, could we have a moment of silence, please, for the lives of the servicemen that were lost in Tennessee, please? Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Ms. Lucina, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Checchio, Mr. Del Sordi,
Here.
Mrs. Giovanella,
Here.
Mr. Jones,
Here.
Mayor Glover.
Here. The next item on our agenda is public comment. Anyone wishing to address the Township Council may do so by coming forward with items related only to that which is on tonight's agenda. If there is someone who would like to, please come forward. If it's not on the agenda, we will have a second open public comment section at the end of the meeting.
Oh, and I'd just like to remind everyone that we do have a 3-minute time limit.
Hi, first of all, can you hear me okay if I speak like this?
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess I'm addressing, first of all, I'm Mark Van Ostenbridge. I live at 2096 Arrowwood Drive. I've met a few of you before, so thank you. And I would suppose that I'm referencing Ordinance 2015-14 tonight, and thanks in advance for hearing our thoughts, and to all the council members who've expressed interest in my concerns and the concerns of our neighbors. 2 points before I begin. One, I came home from vacation to make this meeting. It's that important to me. Second, I really love my home. I love where I live in Scotch Plains. My wife and I, we fell in love with our neighborhood in Scotch Plains 5 years ago, and we bought the house knowing it wasn't perfect. We're working to try and make it so. When we bought our home, we loved the fact that there was a golf course behind us. We both played at one point. We considered joining, and moreover, we thought it would afford us additional peace. So when we heard that Shack redevelopment effort was going to keep Shack as a golf course, we rejoiced. We were very glad, right? We thought it meant little difference, little change to the status quo that we had had. But in 2013, all that began to change. We heard rumblings that the new course owners were moving the pool from the center of the course where it had always been to right behind our home, about 150 feet from our property. Please understand, pool noise itself is something that we consider to be relatively benign. Splashing, playing, those types of things, that doesn't bother us at all. But we also wanted to understand the intentions behind the use of the pool beyond simply those splashing and playing noises. So I got a petition together in 2013. Roughly 50 of the neighbors had signed, and expressing concerns over parties, alcohol, sound barriers, and the above effects on home values. Well, the management of the pool had a number of neighbors in to put forth their plans and try to assuage our concerns, but we heard no plans of theirs to address any of our concerns. So we banded together to attend the planning board meeting back in 2014 in the hopes that the planning board would try and work with us in order to get the protection that we needed. Limited concessions were one, but yet they were one, including a mandate for Shack to build a sound-resistant fence and install plantings that were designed to block sound. We also questioned Mr. Schiavone from RDC Golf around his intention for parties that would take place poolside. We asked about his experience with the other clubs he had owned and whether or not he had held parties with live bands and music before. He testified that he rarely, if ever, hosted things such as that, and the planning board nor the community need not worry. Keeping in mind the pool has been open only since the beginning of the summer, take into account the following parties that they've had with either loudspeakers blaring or live bands playing.
30 seconds.
How much?
30 seconds.
Father's Day, July 4th, July 11th, and on July 18th, they miraculously rested, but we don't expect the parties to end there. In fact, the Shack website now advertises live music from 4th of July until Labor Day from 4 to 7 p.m. July 25th is a margarita poolside party featuring a live band from 7 to 11 p.m. 7 to 11 p.m. And my personal favorite is August 7th, Drink Like a Founding Father event, which I'm not exactly sure what that's supposed to imply, but
Time.
Events like that make me concerned. So I'm wondering where we are on the noise ordinance and what can be done to protect the neighborhood.
Thank you for coming out tonight. We'll address that shortly.
Hi, my name is John Welch. I live at 2088 Arrowwood Drive. I'm next door to Mr. Van Ostenburg, and I'm directly behind the pool. And I concur with everything Mr. Van Ostenburg said. We were led to believe this is going to be a quiet country club pool. Well, it hasn't been. It's been in business since the holiday weekend, and there have been 4 parties already with loud music. Our house shakes when the windows are closed. We can hear the music when the windows are closed. And it's not over 60 decibels. I have a meter, I measure it. I guess technically they're not breaking the law, but it doesn't allow us to enjoy our homes the way we've always enjoyed our homes in this town. And it's a problem.
Thank you for coming out.
Thank you.
And thank you for your comments. I mean, we just concluded a lengthy conference meeting, gentlemen, and those of the neighborhood. As you know, many of us have been out to your homes. We understand. We clearly understand, and that's why we're delayed coming here, because a good part of our meeting upstairs focused on what we can do to address noise ordinances within our community. We looked at a state noise ordinance plan and concluded that it may not give the protection some of us are looking for. And it opens up caveats that in avenues where we need not go, okay? Because we don't think it's going to be beneficial, and certainly wouldn't address by statute the concerns that you all have. And by moving forward on that, I think it would be a disservice, and it certainly wouldn't remedy anything that we are trying to help you all with. With that, we had our county health officer in, and
Rahway.
from Rahway, excuse me, and again spoke with him about scenarios. You know, but here's the problem. How can we address it? I think we might have some options and some further discussion. We clearly will have further discussion, because we believe there are some options that need to be further explored. I wish I could tell you that we had absolute resolution and direction that we could impart on you tonight. We don't, because there are many considerations that must be given, not only as it relates to your particular situation, but others. We can't just legislate by that area. But what we're hoping, what I am hoping, is that we will have a solution and more of a discussion going forward that may bring some relief here. But I think I can speak on behalf of the council and our manager and our governing body that we don't have any absolute direction that we can share with you. And I would defer to our attorney, Bob Bernard, to speak to what I've just said, to hopefully concur with where we are, where we were, but an hour ago.
I guess I can concur, Mayor, that there was a discussion about the proposed noise ordinance and some concerns about its uniform effect throughout the municipality. So the governing body is going to look at that some more. It's not, it won't be introduced this evening, and we're going to have to review the ordinance to see what, if anything, can be tailored. Unfortunately, noise ordinances generally, in order to be compliant with state law, have to be uniform and have to be approved of by the Department of Environmental Protection, which sets standards for all municipalities. So we have, frankly, limited options in terms of adoption of a noise ordinance. It's while it's possible that there may be some tweaks, it's really going to be an all or nothing proposition. So that's a decision that the governing body is going to have to make.
Thank you, Bob. It is a high priority of this governing body. I mean, we're all quite versed in your concern, but I think, as Mr. Renaud alluded to, and as I tried to explain, that you have to look at the entire municipality and how you're going to govern it with regards to noise issues. And as I said, I'm hopeful that we could find something, but we will be reconvening again, and we will put it out there for further discussion to come up with something that one would hope, but one won't guarantee will satisfy everyone.
Yes, Mayor, just to add to that just a little bit, I had an opportunity to go visit on the site and look at the pool along with the police chief and the construction official, and did talk with the leadership of Shakabaxton and let them know of the concerns of the community and what we've been hearing. Not only you, Mayor, but several members of council approached directly. I know you and several members have also visited the area, and as so from my opinion and from my perspective, I was working with our construction official and making sure that what the planning board approved has been executed, and that the soundproof fencing was in place as it should have been, as it was designed and agreed upon several years ago by that planning board and endorsed by this council at that time. So we're going to continue to work with the leadership at Shakabaxton. They're amenable to helping and being good neighbors in the community, and hopefully there'll be some way to resolve this to some mutual satisfaction, understanding that I don't think everybody's going to be happy at the end of the day.
Right.
So I have a question, and I have a lot to say about this in the council comment section, but since we're now having somewhat of a discussion on this, I do have a question. Where is the fence? I don't see, to me, this is something I really am starting to struggle with a lot. The volume of individual emails that we're getting from residents that are located near recent developments where developers have not met their obligations to our residents. They make promises to the township and they're allowed to continue just to conduct business when they've come before us. To me, it's not only an inconvenience for the residents that are nearby it, but it makes a mockery of this township. We have a process. Planning board members are volunteers. They sit and they serve for extended periods of time, listening and reviewing plans and working out compromises so that we have very real solutions. And then to have a developer working on a large-scale project of that nature to just not fulfill their obligation to put a fence up, to me, is outrageous. I don't, and this is maybe one example of several that I would like to discuss later on this evening in the council comments. I don't understand how this continues to happen. We talk about a noise ordinance where you can be issued a $3,000 fine for having a radio playing in your backyard, but you don't put a fence up at a pool and that's not a problem. You know my frustration is not with you, obviously.
No, I know.
But my problem is this. If our efforts continue to be reactionary, if we are constantly forced as a governing body to have to react to all of these isolated incidences, we are never going to be able to address the large-scale needs of our residents. With that said, there's obviously a very real problem going on here, and I'm sympathetic to your issue. But to me, it's outrageous that a builder would have come before this council this many times, come before the planning board, years into the process. Now the swimming pool is there, and they just haven't done what they said they were going to do. Where is the penalty for that?
Well, so there is a fence, and whether it was exactly specified as the planning board approved, that's what I'm working with Mr. LaCosta to ensure that is the case. So it's not that there's no fence, there is a fence. Whether it's high enough or wide enough or soundproof enough, I don't have that expertise to determine that. But I did go on site. Is there additional plantings that perhaps can be done that would then further soften the noise to the neighborhood? That's stuff we have to work with Shakamaksa. But you know, whatever was agreed upon, Bob, I think you can probably attest to this, back from what the planning board approved, you know, hasn't been executed, and that's what I've been concentrating on.
It hasn't. You're asking if it has. I'm asking
Okay.
you. I'm asking for clarification. Has it been executed? You're asking. I'm sorry.
I'm working with Mr. LaCosta. He said they're making terrific progress towards executing the plan that they said they were going to put in place.
Our house shakes. I have brand new windows right now.
Okay.
My house shakes.
Can we have wait, folks, please, let's try to maintain, you know, decorum here. But as I said, Miss, you'll have opportunity to discuss this with us again. But I think to Mr. Marabella's point, we all get it. We've all been there. And we are getting a finite date as to when, and that's why he went out there, okay, as our manager. Because what? No, but I don't want to have a conversation with you, and not that I don't want to. We're trying to adhere to some decorum. I understand it, but I made a point. But listen, try not to. But I've been there on more than one occasion. Okay.
So
I came when you asked me to come, and I'm here to. Okay, but wait. Please, we're not. Let's end this. Not. I don't want to have a debate. We're here to help. And to that point, Mr. Marabella has been out there. It is a priority to him, to this governing body, to hold whatever deal was made, you know, by this company, the golf company, and to hold them accountable for their work. Why wasn't it done? You know, I can't answer that. But I will assure you that we will get them held accountable for what they agreed to. Some of it's a little ambiguous, quite frankly, and that's part of the problem.
Are you able to further comment on why the model noise ordinance, which has been adopted by, I don't know how many municipalities, but I was looking online the other day, and there's a huge list of municipalities in New Jersey that have adopted it without issue. And
well, we could have once again, I'll ask Mr. Renard to comment on those kinds of ordinances, okay, which is presumably the state ordinance.
can we? It's on the agenda for tonight, and I know we said we were going to table it, but can't we discuss it on the time that? Can't we?
Well, I want to do that, but the gentleman has come up here, and with all due respect, we've kept him waiting and his neighbors for over an hour. And so, you know, I don't want to hold them further if we can answer some of these questions. And but I suspect this is going to be something that, you know, we're going to have to get back to you on, because we want to do it right. We get it. We understand what commitments were made. But we're not going to give you a flippant answer today. And quite frankly, the reason we're late is because we weren't prepared to do that and just simply pass an ordinance, a state statute noise ordinance, that wouldn't bring any relief to you. Is that, I don't know what else I could say
Sounds like
further.
a summary of the conversation, yes.
so understanding that deadlines are hard to come by, is there a time frame that we can expect an answer in, and how would that communication come back to us?
That's an absolute reasonable question. And I think we'll have it on our calendar again, but while it will be put on our August conference meeting, okay, which you're welcome to attend, I would hope by then, which is on August 9th, if I'm not mistaken. What date?
11th.
11th. So, you know, in a couple of weeks we will reconvene, but we will work toward coming up with what the position maybe should be.
Okay.
Thank you. And I'm sorry that we had to hold you here so late, but I want to assure you that conversation took better part of 40 minutes upstairs, and we get it. Okay, anyone else would like to address the council? Seeing no one coming forward, and the public comment section, and we have presentations of recognitions, and we have some wonderful folks here that we want to acknowledge, and Deputy Mayor Giulianella has some things that she'd like to share with you all.
Chief, if you could come up and join your the newest members of the fire department in facing the camera, because I really think that the public, you could stand up and just face the camera. The public should have the opportunity to really see the quality. How through the tremendous recruitment efforts that have been underway in recent years, the quality and caliber of the officers that the members of the fire department that we have attracted to an all-volunteer department. And Chief, I was wondering if you would be so kind, if you had a few words to say, and if you could also introduce every one of your new firefighters, please.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. We did, as you mentioned, had the pleasure of attending graduation ceremonies for 7 firefighters. Tonight we have firefighter Rick Villafredi, Nick Lakowski, Rob Villegas, Tyler Bowman, Ray Kaiser, Matt Blank, and AJ Wright could not be with us tonight. As you mentioned, volunteers, 4.5 months, 3 nights a week, every weekend. So it's a tremendous amount of effort that they had to put into this. It's not just putting the wet stuff on the red stuff. They learn a lot of stuff, things in that class. So with that, there are some awards that are given.
And if you don't mind, I'd like to talk a little bit about those awards.
Sure.
I did have the opportunity to attend the fire department graduation, and as I've said in the past, and continue to look at the camera, by the way, because I think that people would like to see you and not us. Being the liaison to the fire department has become what makes me most proud in my role on this council. For all of the time that these gentlemen spent at the fire academy, they were not compensated for their time. That is their personal time away from their family and away from their other interests that they've dedicated to keeping the residents of this community safe. As far as these 2 awards, that 2 of the awards in particular, Ben Leganga Award and the Kenneth Nocera Award, just a few comments on this in particular. So Ben Leganga was a dear friend of mine and a very dear friend of our township manager, Mr. Marabella. I could only say that he probably was one of the finest people you could ever meet. And the young loss of his life obviously was a tragedy for everyone who knew him. So to be recognized in his name is an honor beyond what I can probably explain to the public today. The other award in recognition or in honor of Chief Kenneth Nocera. The Noceras are a family that I'm proud to have called a friend for really well over 3 decades. His son, Kenneth Nocera, was in my elementary school class. I went to a Catholic school, so it was the same 20 kids from kindergarten straight through 8th grade. And his daughter, Janine, lives in Scotch Plains and is a very good friend. So these are very special awards. I would like to read the resolution, but before I even begin to read, I want you to understand that we had to get up so many times for pictures that night because our guys were recognized constantly. I think we took everything home possible, right? You have any room on those walls over there for all those awards?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We got room.
Well, maybe not so much in the future. So I would like to read this in recognition of your amazing accomplishments. So whereas fire departments throughout Union County send their recruits to the Union County Fire Academy, Scotch Plains had 7 recruits complete their certification in 2014 and 2015, and that competition is high, and Scotch Plains firefighters have consistently excelled in being awarded honors, and the Ben Leganga Leadership Award is given to a firefighter in each graduating class and is presented to the student who has demonstrated a strong commitment to the training program, has demonstrated a high standard of ethical conduct, and consistently sets an example for others to follow, and has been voted upon by fellow classmates. It's a big deal when your classmates pick you for something. Ben Leganga served as the Union County Emergency Management Coordinator from 1991 until his retirement in 2008. He was instrumental in expanding the resources and support provided to the fire services countywide. And whereas Battalion Chief Kenneth Nosara Award is given to one student in the graduating class who emulates excellence in training and education with the highest overall average and voted upon by the instructional staff. This award honors Battalion Chief Kenneth Nosara for his 29 years of service to the City of Elizabeth's Fire Department. During this time in the fire service, he emulated the spirit of training, education, and learning at every opportunity. Whereas, the Chief Anthony Shepis Award for Excellence is given to one student in the graduating class who emulates the very spirit of training demonstrated through enthusiasm, teamwork, and the constant drive toward excellence, and voted upon by the instructional staff. This award recognizes Chief Shepis for his 28 years of service to the people of Roselle Park and for serving as the chief of the department and as president of the Union County Fire Association in 1992, 1993, and 1994. He was one of the original training committee members who worked on having Union County Fire Academy grounds and the burning building built. And the honorees of this prestigious award were presented to the following Scotch Plains Fire Department firefighters. Attending the fall 2013 class, firefighter Robert Desiato was awarded the Chief Anthony Shepis Award for Excellence and the Battalion Chief Kenneth Nosara Award. Attending the fall 2014 class, firefighter Robert Villegas was awarded the Kenneth Nosara Award and the Chief Anthony Shepis Award for Excellence. Attending the spring 2015 class, firefighter Raymond Kaiser III was awarded the Chief Anthony Shepis Award for Excellence. And firefighter Tyler Bowman, who gets the award for the easiest name tonight, was awarded the Ben Leganga Leadership Award. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Mayor Kevin Glover and the Township of the Council of Scotch Plains extend our heartfelt congratulations to each of these gentlemen. The commitment they have shown in their training is to be commended, and we thank you for your hard work and the commitment you have made to assisting the residents of Scotch Plains. We're incredibly proud of you. Thank you very much. And we have a copy of the resolution that the mayor would join me in presenting to you. Chief, we have one for you, and if you don't mind, I did plan on presenting a copy of this to the Nosara family as well.
Thank you.
One more time. Thank you, guys. I know you gotta get home to your homework, right? We always say that when we have these young people here. Boy, you guys look great. I have to tell you. Well. Very nicely done, Chief.
gonna have a fire call, so.
Or something.
Or something, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we have one more recognition, and we have some wonderful folks in the house. A couple of weeks ago, we recognized and honored several of our volunteers of the year. Regrettably, 2 of them were traveling. Good for them. And they weren't able to attend. Well, tonight, they are with us, and I'd like to recognize both Ruby and Thurman Simmons, a wonderful couple, deserving to be honored and recognized tonight, and always, for their outstanding work in preserving, recognizing the great talents of America's first professional golfer, an African-American, John Shippen. For decades, the Simmons have painstakingly worked on bringing the proper, dignified recognition to Mr. Shippen, who played for most of his career at the Shady Rest Golf and Country Club in Scotch Plains. The 2 of them not only have worked to preserve and to have the recognition of Mr. Shippen's name brought before not only the citizens of Scotch Plains, but throughout the nation. But they've also worked valiantly to preserve and to protect, to restore the great course that he played on at the time, Shady Rest Golf and Country Club. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to 2 very special people who I'm honored are here tonight, who I have had the great pleasure to become personal friends with, who have given everything they could. And I'll share with you one story. Mr. Shippen, once again, America's first professional golfer, an African-American, was buried in an unmarked grave. The Shippen family, or I should say, the Simmons family, took it upon themselves to find that unmarked grave, I believe it's in Newark, and had erected a tombstone, a monument that recognized the man and his wonderful accomplishments. Ruby, Thurman, please come forward. We actually have a check for you, monies that were raised from the Mayor's Gallery, and I know there's someone else out in the audience and saying, where's my check? See Mr. Marabella in the morning. It's coming. But let me present this to you. Thank you, sir. Once again, to my friends, to the Township's friends, to 2 very special people. Should I give the money to her? Yeah, give it to her. Done. Wasn't any hesitation. God bless you both. Please.
Thank you very much, Mayor Glover, Council, Manager, and citizens of Scotch Plains. Thank you very much. We have labored for 4 decades, and we have accomplished and put John Shippen's name in the USGA, and he was given a PGA card at the last, in 1994. And it has been a labor of love. I do want to say that we do have, thanks to my husband Thurman, we have created a John Shippen Youth Golf Academy, and it is open to children ages 4 to 17, and we have quite a few of our Scotch Plains residents' children. I'd also like to thank the Recreation Department, who gratis let us use the Scotch Hills Country Club for our Youth Golf Academy, and we will be having our 9th annual youth tournament on August the 8th for children ages 4 to 17. Believe it or not, we have some great young children who are 5 to 7 who play some awesome golf. Thank you very much.
I'd just like to thank the council. I'd like to thank Recreation, really, because they've been hanging in there with us since 1990. We've been at this since 1989. She thought I was crazy when I was starting it. I didn't know why I was starting it. I guess it was meant for me to do this. Well, the thing that I really wanted to do, I wanted to bring John Shippen's legacy up to the PGA and the USGA. They didn't even know about it. And until I went up there one snowy February to meet David Fay. He was the executive director then. And he understood my passion. He said, did I play golf? I said, no, I like history. And I like to correct history when it's incorrect. So they thought John Shippen was a Shinnecock Indian, but he wasn't. He was born in Washington, D.C. in 1879. He was 16 when he played golf. So he supersedes Tiger Woods in 3 or 4 categories. And I'm just glad that the town and the state of New Jersey and the PGA and the USGA recognizes him now as the first American golf professional. There's an exhibit up at the USGA which will be there till February of next year, and they talk about John Shippen and some other golfers that contributed to the world of golf. I'd just like to thank the town and the Recreation Department for allowing us to use the facility for our children. And if you want to donate $25 and sponsor a kid, you know, that's what it costs. We don't raise our prices. Our kids only pay $65 to play golf for 12 weeks.
When do the sessions start?
May 1st of every year. And it runs till the end of July.
Thurman, you may want to also, Ruby, share with us your efforts to have a postage stamp.
Oh yeah, that's her initiative.
See, there's something, a little detail here, folks.
Oh, yes. I started an initiative.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I started an initiative to have a John Shippen U.S. postal stamp. Anyone, if you would like to help us in this endeavor, you may email us at johnshippen@yahoo.com, and I will send you a copy of the letter. You do not have to create a letter, and send it to the U.S. Postal Service. We have been contacted by them that we are on the agenda to have a postal stamp. And I think if it goes through, it will really put Scotch Plains on the map, and it will put the history of Shady Rest and John Shippen worldwide. So we have started that initiative, and we hope that the U.S. Postal Service will grant us a U.S. postal stamp of John Matthew Shippen, Jr.
Thank you, Ruby, for that. Thank you, Thurman. Thank you both for coming out. Okay. 2 very nice presentations and recognitions tonight. We have a public hearing and final adoption. So will the clerk read the ordinance by title?
Ordinance number 2015-13, an ordinance to repeal subsection 5-10, licensing of cats, in Chapter 5, Animals of the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of Scotch Plains.
Deputy Mayor?
Mayor.
Here.
Yeah, I have this sheet right here. Okay, I move that the public hearing on this ordinance be opened.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Would anyone like to address the council with reference to this ordinance? Seeing no one. Any council comments? Hearing no one. Deputy Mayor?
Mayor, I move that the public hearing be closed.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
I move that this ordinance be adopted on second and final reading and be advertised according to law.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? I think that we don't have to do
Roll call.
all in favor.
Roll
We
call.
need to do a roll call right now. So let's do a roll call.
Mr. Del Sordi?
Aye.
Mrs. Giovanella?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mayor Glover?
Aye. Next item on our agenda is the approval of council minutes. Deputy Mayor, please.
Mayor, I'd like to move the council conference and business meetings of June 3rd, 2015 and June 16th, 2015.
Is there a second?
Mayor, I'd like to second it with some corrections.
Please.
Mr. Vastine and Mr. Marcus were not at that meeting, as it was written.
I made the corrections upstairs at
Thank
the
you.
desk.
Good work.
Duly noted. With those corrections,
I second it.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I love when Bonnie does that. She wants to make sure everyone's reading.
Keep it in mind.
Well done. John gets the Award. A manager's report, do you want to share with us some things? Please?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. If I could ask you to approve the bill list, too, I think that's in the agenda. I don't know if you want to do that right now, or you want to do it as part of the consent agenda.
I don't think we...
I think it was under other new business after the
Yeah, it was up front in the agenda, we just moved past it, but I think we can do it.
Oh, okay.
Not mine.
We'll do it
Not
next.
mine.
We'll do it next. Why don't we do your manager's report, we'll do the bill
Okay,
list.
fair enough. So I have a couple of things I want to update the mayor and council on. Our successful movie series for Friday nights has been fantastic and well attended. We'll begin again next Friday, and Frozen will begin at dusk and continue. The movies will continue through the month of August, the end of August. I understand I had many reports about the car show and the doo-wop show. That was just terrific, brought a lot of people into our downtown area. The next concert is this Thursday at 7:30 with Wolf Creek, so I encourage our residents to come for that. Due to the heat, earlier this week, over the weekend and on Monday, a cooling station was established in Township Hall. I want to thank the mayor for jumping in and organizing that effort. I think it was helpful for our residents to have an opportunity to go someplace if the air conditioning wasn't working or they were feeling the effects of the heat. Nice job, Mayor. Give you all a quick update on the Scotch Hills situation. The roof is continuing to be in the process of completion. There's a few last items that need to be attended to, and then the roof will be completed. The ceiling in the ballroom is still under construction. That's been taken down, and our expectation is that that building will be open for September for the new round of senior citizen activities that are going to start then. I'll pay notice to the items on the agenda for 3 grants that the township has submitted to Union County. Preserve Union County, which is a historic grant with an emphasis on shady rest and improving signage of our historical sites around the township. Greening Union County, which brings additional trees to our township. And Kids Recreation Trust, which has an emphasis this year on the zoo property and the enhancements being sought on that location. On August 4th, the National Night Out will be held on the Village Green with activities starting at 5 o'clock. Music from Scotch Plains' own broadcasters will be provided, as well as rides, and the police department will be there, fire department, and first aid squad. So I encourage residents to come out to this very successful event. And just to let residents know, I think many people know that the farmers market on Saturdays from 8 o'clock to 2 o'clock has been, it's one of the best farmers markets in Union County, if not the state of New Jersey, and it is on rain or shine. We get a lot of questions whether it's going to be held. If it's raining, it is. So please come out and take advantage of that. I could give a quick update on the road work that's happening throughout the township. And I want to thank Joe Timko for providing me some information. He's been spearheading this effort for the township on behalf of my office. West Broad Street, major construction items were completed on July 17th. Some minor details are being in place to finish that up. Our Township Road Assistance Program began July 16th with the installation of new curbing on Christine Circle and Mary Ellen Lane, which will take about 2 weeks to complete. Lake Avenue is scheduled for milling and paving the week of July 20th, this week. Aberdeen Road scheduled for milling and pavement next week, July 27th, that week. There are 11 roads altogether in this year's program that will be paved by the Public Works Department and our road work assistance contractor. I'm thankful for the allocation of funding from you, Mayor, and this council on these projects that are significant for the township. Front Sheet is closed for several weeks for the installation of a new gas main. Concrete handicap ramps are being installed in that area. The Hetfield Bridge has been closed at night for the last week and will go on for the next 2 or 3 weeks. And we worked very closely with New Jersey Transit. It's their project to make sure we can keep that bridge open during the day. So that's night work. It's being handled at night, just with the work being done in the evening area. Two other quick updates. Portland Avenue, New Jersey American Water, who did a lot of work there, is working on milling and paving and restoring that road. And the same with Raritan Road. Milling and paving is being done by American Water as well. As part of their agreement, they're restoring the road work. So that concludes my report at this time, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions of the manager with respect to his report?
So I wanted to commend you because I've never seen so many grants on the agenda. I think that that is fabulous. That is such a step in the right direction. I'm going to give you a little research to do. I believe a few years ago when I was recreation liaison, we did secure another grant through the Historic Trust Fund from the County of Union.
Yep.
I don't know if we've ever pulled that grant down because we were still waiting for the building criteria. There was a nuance. So if we could just check into that to see if that money is still out there and promised to us.
Yeah, I will look at that, Deputy Mayor. That is a grant that's offered every other year, so I'll look back 2 years ago and see where we're at.
Please, and I also just wanted to ask about the 100,000 grants, the infrastructure grants
Yeah.
that the township was recently awarded. What are the plans to do? How are we planning on using that money?
That's something that we're going to have a
Okay.
discussion about. I was able to, because there had to be projects that were being implemented this year, so I picked to offset the cost of the Shady Rest roof and also our road construction program.
Okay.
So that was our kind of match towards the grant, and then it's up to our collective conversation to determine the best steps for using that money effectively. It's $105,000, so I'm really happy that we were awarded that too.
So has there been any conversation, I mean, just going back to the conversation about the condition of the sidewalks in the downtown, the fact that we really have some situations with tree roots, et cetera. Have we put any thought into maybe working on, more appealing? Is that, so that $100,000 is still available for our use? Is that what I hear you saying?
Yes. Yep. And yeah, there's been some conversation. I need to huddle with Joe Timko, who I've asked to kind of take a look at that and discuss. There's varying degrees of interest in that kind of program amongst the mayor and council, so we'll have to make sure that that's the priority and something we want to move forward with. But however it's directed, I'll be happy to proceed.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any other comments, questions? I just want to follow up, Mr. Marabella. I agree with you. The events that we are staging in town have been enormously successful. I mean, closing Park Avenue may have created a little inconvenience for a bit, but it was overwhelming successful, well attended, and I just would be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to one of the folks sitting in this audience, John Listachek, who stepped up to the plate in the absence of, oh boy.
Don Wessler?
Don Wessler, forgive me, my age is starting to show, who normally would work on car shows with us. Don, as many of you know, had an accident in California while visiting his granddaughter's graduation, and he went down. He sustained a broken hip, so we won't see Don back here for a couple of weeks. Don was a gentleman who's always been behind Scotch planes. I mean, one of his latest accomplishments, and one most prominent, was the Korean War Memorial that sits outside of Town Hall. But with that, folks like John Listachek stepped up to the plate. Fabio from A&S Cardi, Ralph Cecchio and Bob LaCosta. I mean, how successful was it? I walked into to Alfonso's at the end of the night to get a slice of pizza, and I think they sold out all their dough and all their cheese. So it was really unbelievable. And, the weather somehow held off, so we were able to get it in. That said, that drives people to the downtown. And by doing such, people get to see that this downtown has possibilities. So we need to keep doing that.
Absolutely.
And this council has to support doing that. The Friday night movies, I agree with you. Every week they get better and better, and more folks come out. And everyone from the community, from the north side to the south side. So, think what you will. I mean, you can't have everything for everybody. We heard some comments, but listen, we can't show War and Peace. It's too long a movie, although I did like it. But I think we have a venue there for the kids, which is something that we used to do before the concerts. And so Thursday night is concert night for, all the families and their children, but Friday night is especially for the kids. But I have to say for the families too, lots out there. But anyway, all good stuff.
The movies were very nice, Mayor, the ones we've been able to attend.
All good stuff, right? Well, with that, onward and upward, you know? Because we remind everybody every week, give it up for Scotch Plains and shop Scotch Plains when you come to those movies.
Yeah.
But, bill list. Can I have a motion on the bill list?
Mayor, I'd like to move the bill list in the amount of $13,236,304.39.
Is there a second? Okay, any questions on the bill list?
Just one quick housekeeping question. There was an item, it was related to grant money that came in. I'm sorry, I'll find it here. It was Division 77, as I recall. Sorry, I've got a new system here. I'm waiting for it to load. Well, while I'm waiting for it to load here, there was if one of the other folks sees it, there was an item that it was for a grant money, but it was charged to an environmental grant and had nothing to do with environmental grant monies. But if I can't find it here, I guess I'll just follow up with you later.
Yeah, no problem, Councilman. I'm happy to take a look at that. If you locate that, I'll get to the bottom of your question.
Okay, I'll come back to it later in the meeting. If
We've had a motion, we've had a second. Can we call the roll, please?
Mr. Del Sorte?
Aye.
Mrs. Giovanella?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mayor Glover?
Aye. May I have a motion on the new business consent agenda, please? 2015-134 through, we'll come back to that. Let's just get the information.
Mayor, I'd like to move the new business consent agenda resolution items number 2015-134 through resolution number 2015-156.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments?
We have one item, though, that I believe
We're pulling, that's an ordinance.
oh, you're right, I'm sorry. I actually did have some comments on item number 2015-147.
Please ask.
It's not a question, it's a comment. So I'm gonna wait and reserve my comments later because it's not something that will impact the vote. Because what this question is that we're actually allowing a contractor to withdraw their bid. So I'll talk about.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so we have another question, please?
A question on one item on there. It's Resolution 2015-154, resolution authorizing contract to Suppley and Clooney for special accounting services. As I read the item there, and I know we had discussed the idea of this previously, but we had no cost estimate in hand at the time. I have two, so essentially it's one to review internal control systems relative to the operation of the township's revenue and cash collection processes, and secondly, to do a statement of operations on the golf course. So my two questions are, one, do we have to take cash? I mean, I can't imagine people pay their property taxes in cash, right? Too high to be going and getting that much money from the bank.
Right.
Do we have any idea of how much cash we take in? And is it worth spending $10,000? Just, I mean, if we're taking in $2,000 in cash receipts a year, why are we spending $10,000 to audit it? Additionally, do we have to take in cash? I mean, what operation can't most people pay most things by credit card? I mean, are we legally obligated to take U.S. cash, or can we tell people no, it's check or credit card?
So it's an interesting system. You know, we've gone and we've mini golfed a couple times and we've used the facilities. Can cash is always a concern in government because there's so many specifics about when that cash has to be deposited with the record keeping. I mean, in any business, but particularly in government, it's very specifically legislated. I'm sure Bob knows much better than I do.
I've seen people, I don't know about here, I've seen people pay their tax bills in cash. I know that may seem
Pennies, right? I'm sure, right?
incredible, but
Yes.
I've seen it happen.
I just want to say this. I don't know the answer to whether or not we have to take cash, and I don't think you were asking me anyway, but I want to say that I do think it's worth the $10,000 to audit it, because I think we need to audit the process more than anything else and really get a sense of, and look for maybe suggestions. One of the things that I think our auditing firm has done for us for a long time is that they don't just look at the dollars and cents, but they're also making suggestions about how the process can be improved. So that's where I think the value comes in. I understand your point.
That's why it's there, exactly. For years, we've tried to get our hands around this, you know, and I think this is, it's long overdue, long overdue. Well, anyway, okay, any other comments?
Well, I guess my other part to that one, given that it was pertaining to golf operations, I was kind of wanted to inquire with the council member who was the rec liaison, but given that we unfortunately lost her for the evening, I guess I will defer that to another time.
Okay, good. So any other comments on the consent agenda? We've had a motion, we've had a second. Can we call the roll, please?
Mr. Del Sordi?
Aye.
Mrs. Giovanella?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mayor Glover?
Aye. Okay, well, before we get on to, because everybody will run out afterwards, other new business, are there any reports from special committees? From special committees, any other reports? Not hearing any, here we go. Okay, other new business, we have we're pulling ordinance, tabling ordinance 2015/14. We've had much of a discussion about that earlier and why we've done that. The next ordinance is ordinance 2015-15. Ms. Lucina, would you read the ordinance by title, please, only? And this is an introduction.
An ordinance establishing salaries and wages for intern, communications assistant, human relations / purchasing / project manager, and part-time director of public property.
Is there a second?
Second.
Wait.
Any?
I think I move that the public hearing on this ordinance be opened.
This is introduction, we're not having a public hearing.
Yeah.
We would
I
just,
move, okay.
No, hold on, we got the first, yeah. Yes, go ahead.
I move that this ordinance be passed in first reading, published according to law for further consideration, and the public hearing set for August 11th at 7:00 p.m. in the Township Municipal Building, 430 Park Avenue, Scotch Plains.
Is there a second?
Second.
Terrific. And any questions? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Del Sordi?
Aye.
Mrs. Giovanella?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mayor Glover?
Aye. Ms. Lucina, would you read the next ordinance by title, 2015-16, please?
An ordinance to establish salaries and wages for certain municipal employees, police department.
I move that this ordinance be passed on first reading, published according to law for further consideration, and public hearing set for August 11th at 7:00 p.m. in the Township Municipal Building, 430 Park Avenue, Scotch Plains.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments? Hearing none, can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Del Sordi?
Aye.
Mrs. Giovanella?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mayor Glover?
Aye. Ms. Lucina, can you read by title ordinance 2015-17?
An ordinance authorizing the mayor and township clerk to execute a declaration of deed restriction on property commonly known as 1451 Raritan Road, Scotch Plains, New Jersey, to recreation and open space purposes.
I move that this ordinance be passed on first reading, published according to law for further consideration, and public hearing be set for August 11th at 7:00 p.m. in the Township Municipal Building, 430 Park Avenue, Scotch Plains.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments? Hearing none, can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Del Sordi?
Aye.
Mrs. Giovanella?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mayor Glover?
Aye. Thank you all. Moving on, we have public comment once again. Anyone wishing to address the council on any matter? Tell me their favorite tune. Cartoon, maybe?
Carolyn Perkins, Westfield Road in Scotch Plains. First of all, thank you for all the grants that you are applying for. That is a very good thing. Mr. Marabella, I'm hoping one of those can be attached with environmental and we can get our containers for recycling at the town green so we can put our recyclables where they should be instead of in the trash. I'm a little disheartened to find out that the senior bus is broken again, which means they're not going grocery shopping, they're not going out to do the things they would like to do. Is it possible, Mr. Marabella, when a situation like that happens, that we could rent one? I spoke with you about this before. We're just, the seniors are a forgotten few, and I just have to speak up, and I told them that I would do this. I am not a shy person by any means, but the seniors are forgotten. Now, Mr. Marabella, you're saying that the Shady Rest is going to be ready for the September meeting. Somebody said they highly doubt it because the roof is completely gone in the dining room. I certainly hope that the senior citizens have a place to meet. When I spoke with you when we had our meeting, I don't know if Fanwood would even allow it to allow us to share their building temporarily. They have a very nice senior building. It has a kitchen. It would service our purposes, but then all those people in Scotch Plains are Scotch Plains residents. Fanwood seniors are a combination of Fanwood and Scotch Plains residents. So even the president of the Fanwood seniors is a Scotch Plains person. So I do hope you pursue that. I think that with the concert that was last Thursday, I felt very badly for the people who came for the zoning board meeting because they didn't get a chance to go to the concert because 100 people here were voicing their opinions on the apartment on North Avenue. Thank you very much for your time. I do appreciate it. I do speak up, and I still want to meet with you regarding that recycling stuff. Okay. TerraCycle is a good thing.
Thank you for your comments again.
So, does the library not have space for the seniors to meet?
Oh, no, not downstairs, no. We have 10 tables about that, bigger than that, regular 10 tables. And there's about 80 to 100 people that meet at both Scotch Plains and Fan.
I think you're working on it, Mr. Barabella. I believe the programs are suspended, or not in
take a
force
break in
right
this
now.
summer.
There's a break in the summer. So we're hoping we're going to be there.
We're working very hard to make a movement in September.
I think that's the important point. Okay, we've had public comment. Anybody else? No council comment? You wanted to?
Yeah, I have a couple things, and so we started to talk about this a little bit upstairs, and this really ties in my mind to a lot of the issues that we are, I'm very sympathetic to what the residents are experiencing that are living around Chacamaxon. I think that you shed some very good light on it today. It was interesting to hear that there is a fence at that particular location, but that possibly the problem is that the plans were too ambiguous, Mayor. To use the word that you selected, which I think was very appropriate. The frustration that I'm having is we continuously hear as members of the council from residents either who have occupied new development or who live around new developments. It took us probably close to a year, or excuse me, about 7 months to have Hidden Meadows paved. Constant time from the manager, constant time from members of this council. And it's not that we don't mind giving our time to these efforts, but the residents shouldn't have to go through the frustration of continuously reaching out to us so that we're made aware of these situations. And Hidden Meadows still doesn't conform to the plans that were originally proposed. The shade trees haven't been planted, and I spoke recently with a wonderful couple that lives behind Hidden Meadows. They're still waiting for the trees that were to be take the place. That was all just open land. There were trees everywhere. There were trees and shrubbery everywhere. With the completion of the new development, the developer was to plant trees as a buffer between the homes that existed previously behind the development and with the new development. To find that that developer would then feel comfortable enough approaching this township for a bid for township work tells me that we're not sending the right message. The message should be that if you want to do business in Scotch Plains, you need to be good and fair to our residents. You need to meet your obligations, whether you're Shackamaxon, whether you're any of these other builders. You need to make sure that the promises you make or the commitments you make when you're putting plans forward. These land use boards, they hear hearings for hours at a time. Hundreds of people come out to attend these meetings, to your point. It is a process that should be given the integrity that it deserves. So my question becomes, where is the enforcement? Where are we following up? Who is to be following up to make sure that all of these measures are maintained? And to me, that responsibility shouldn't fall on the residents who are affected by these individual issues. It shouldn't have to be reactive. Where are the proactive measures that should be in place every time? I mean, these are not small developments, to make sure that we're meeting the needs of these residents. You know, we've heard from Mr. Vespucci so many times, and I understand. I wouldn't want to look at garbage dumpsters either. But can we not plant? Can we not do plantings here to help facilitate maybe a better view for him? It just, to me, it's a source of frustration that we don't have more of a system in place, that we're not hearing the same levels of frustration from our residents again and again. I have a few other things that I did want to comment on. I wanted to say that I was very happy to hear the consensus of this council is to move forward with a downtown planner. It was a really good discussion upstairs, and I'm looking forward to future meetings so that the public can hear more about that discussion. I'm also very much looking forward to an opportunity for the county dispatch to come forward and present their plans to the public as well. I think that's an important part of the process. We don't want the public to be frightened by lack of communication or by misinformation. We've seen that happen in the past with other issues, and I want to make sure that we're continuing our best efforts to really be proactive, again, in communicating as much information as possible up front. Recreation. I want to comment on the fact that my daughter is enjoying the camp very much. It's been a very nice program this year, and all of those involved in making the camp a success should really be commended for that effort. And that the kids have shade under the pavilion. Thank you very much, Mr. Marabella, for moving mountains so that that was finally completed. I also just want to comment, she is again participating in the travel softball program. It's a wonderful program run through PAL. We've had an opportunity to attend games or to participate in games in many of the townships in neighboring communities. It is somewhat disheartening to me that all of these townships have a separate softball facility for their girls. We do not have. We do not even have a sign hanging in any of the places that we play. This is an issue because the softball program is run through PAL. I do plan on approaching the PAL board with this. I was hoping that our recreation liaison would be here tonight to hear my comments on this, but I know she was not feeling well. I will share them with her as well. I think it's very, very important that our girls have an opportunity to really see the pride that the other towns have in their program. These girls are out there playing in 100-degree heat because they're committed to the sport, and it's a wonderful program. But as a township, we need to do much more for our girls in youth athletics. And I just want to say happy anniversary to my husband. The last council meeting was on his birthday. Today's our anniversary. I'm sorry.
Any other comments?
Yes, Mayor. Two quick items. I apologize. One on the consent agenda before, the item I brought up. The $10,000 to Supply Clooney, just as a matter of housekeeping for the record, what department will we spend that $10,000 out of? Will that come out of recreation or administration or finance?
No, come out of my budget.
Come out of your administration budget,
Yes.
okay. And the second item, as more of a comment, I just wanted to highlight for the folks at home, there's one other item that was buried in the consent agenda here, but it's very important for the town, and it's a resolution that was filed, that our attorney put together, and it's called, it was a resolution authorizing the filing of a declaratory judgment action in the Superior Court regarding the Council on Affordable Housing. And I just want folks to know that this is potentially a big deal for how the township evolves over many, many years, and that this council and manager and attorney are on top of the situation as it currently stands. But there's going to have to be some other important plans drafted and put forward later this year. And so, you know, we at the previous meeting, we put some of that in place by hiring some of the folks, some of the same folks who did these plans in years past. But there's some real important work that's going on. It kind of falls behind the scenes here on the consent agenda, but I just want to draw that to people's attention, especially those who like to follow these sorts of issues, as it really does affect our neighborhoods potentially. Thank you.
Thanks for highlighting that.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I have just one question for the manager. I attended the zoning board hearing on Thursday, and I was probably the first one in this chambers, if not the first few. And I found it troublesome that I came here and I couldn't find a parking spot. And this was about 10 to 7. The meeting was at 7:30, and there was also a concert that was going to be happening at 7:30. Where are all these cars? Where are these people?
It's a mess.
It's an excellent question, Councilman. The mayor and I have been working on some parking studies, and hopefully I'm going to be in a position to present some ideas very shortly on some direction. But we are finding that people park there all day.
You're absolutely right.
And it's an issue. And when there's multiple events, it's very difficult to find a space. You're correct.
So it's a work in progress. We're trying to find a solution to the parking here.
I think you're right. It is. It's been a work in progress for a while, because during the day I get here at 9 o'clock and I can't find a parking space, and yet I don't see anybody on the streets of Scotch Plains, and it's troublesome. And it's clear to me that we are used as a parking depot,
Absolutely.
by people who don't necessarily live in our town, who find it easy pickings to put their car here. Many of them, and go off to the city. And but it's a big picture, and you're spot on bringing it up tonight, and always, because we have to bring some resolution to this sooner than later. I think we're the spot for everyone who doesn't want to pay in Fanwood, or they don't want to pay anywhere else to park a car. This is where they come, John.
Santa Claus.
We're Santa Claus, as someone just alluded to, but we won't have that debate. I want to say, is there any other comments? Because why don't we take a couple of phone calls if anyone's still awake. The number here in Town Hall is 908-322-2076. That number again at Town Hall, 908-322-2076. If you're with us and you have something you want to share with us, do so now before we adjourn for the evening. The phone's not ringing, so I will ask for a motion to adjourn tonight's council business meeting.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn tonight's council business meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night, everybody. Thank you all for staying up so late.